for starting late beyond our control as well as other matters that we needed to table to attend to before coming to address you. Nevertheless, allow me to acknowledge the presence of the Patriotic Front Acting President, Honorable Judah Muginda, President of the Socialist Party, Dr. Fred Membe, State Council Kifumu Banda, the President of FDD. On this side, I have SG for politics, Honorable Mao Sampa. I have acknowledged the presence of SG for admin, Celestine, Council Celestine Mkandila. We also have MCC on the other side, Silver Charlie Kosa, and Dr. Fran Yambi, MCC from the Patriotic Front. Let me also acknowledge the presence of distinguished leaders, prominent leaders of individual political parties who are members of the Council Alliance. I see my brother smiling. I acknowledge the presence, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I acknowledge all of you. I'll call upon the acting president of the Patriotic Front. Sorry, let me call upon the president of the Socialist Party to address us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Umuchinshi kuri ba president wa PF Honorable Given Muginda. Umuchinshi kuri ba State Council from Banda, President FDD. Umuchinshi kuri ba Deputy General Secretary, Deputy Secretary General babiri bonse PF. Mao Sampa, Celestine Mkandila, umuchinshi kuri ba Dr. Nyambi, umuchinshi kuri ba Mayo, Sylvia, and kuri bonse. And also good afternoon to you, my friends, my comrades in the media. Our being here is a political statement. Without any words, it is a statement in itself, a political statement in itself. Our being here is not an act of charity. It's a necessity. It's a necessity because we are in a common struggle against everything that is wrong in our country today. Our country is at the crossroads. The crossroads is not a resting place. When you are at the crossroads, it's either you go back where you're coming from, or you proceed in front, or you go right, or you go left. You don't stay or live at the crossroads. The crossroads is a point of making decisions. It's a point where alternatives have to be found. What happened on Monday in our homeland demonstrated clearly where we are headed. We have in the government a group that is not willing, that is not ready to listen to any other citizen other than those who sing from their hymn, other than those who shout Kwenyu, Kwenyu, Kwenyu. They are not ready to listen to anybody else. Our people have spoken through their leaders. And by leaders, I don't mean only the political leadership. The political leadership is not the only leadership of this country. We have the religious leaders. They are also authentic leaders of our people. We have the traditional leadership. They are authentic leaders of our people. We have leaders from civil society, the professionals, and so on. They have spoken, but ignored. Totally ignored. Whatever they said fell on deaf ears. This will continue all the way to August 13th next year. If we think this was bad, we are headed for a much more difficult period. I know some are losing hope, but let's not lose hope. Every night has got its morning. It gets dark, but the morning comes. So let's not lose hope. Hope is what carries us forward. Hope makes us stronger than we are. With the hope, confidence comes. And with the confidence, you can move mountains. You can be down on the ground, but that's not the end of it. You can bring someone down who is standing while you are down. You can pull their legs and they'll be down. So let's not give up. Gatherings like this should help us build the trust that is needed. We need to build this trust to be able to struggle together, to be able to unify our struggles, our battles. If we don't, we'll be defeated alone. But unfortunately, it's not us sitting here who will be defeated alone. With us will be the people, the humblest of our people, the most downtrodden of our people, those whose every day is a painful struggle. Struggle to find what to eat, struggle with load shedding, struggle with sanitation and water, struggle with transport. Our fellow citizens who don't know how to smile, they can't have a smile. They are overburdened with problems. And they are the people on whose behalf we sit here today. If they were living well, as it is purported, I wouldn't be sitting with you, my dear brothers and sisters here. If everything was new in this country, I don't think any of us would be here this afternoon. We are here because there are challenges facing our people. And these challenges need a national agenda. They need a national agenda. They can't be solved by an individual agenda. What we are looking at is genius. I come from the poorest province of this country. A province that is today enduring poverty levels of 82.6%. The national average is 60%. Muchinga province, where I come from, is enduring poverty levels of 82.6%. I also come from Northern Province, which is the third poorest province of our country, with poverty levels of 78%. These are not mere statistics. They include my own relatives, members of my family, members of my village, Mwika Royal Village, with 110 households, very poor. mulamba wa Chambeshi. It's difficult to ignore those realities. And it's the realities that bring us here. I'm not saying my village is the only poor village. My province is the only poor province. Actually, the people who have gotten the worst deal out of this dispensation, out of this regime, are members of the UPND, are members of the areas where those who govern this country claim to come from or to represent. They are the most affected. They are the most cheated. They are the most deceived. They are the most betrayed. And if they are, which they are, they should join our struggles for a more united Zambia, for a Zambia that seeks justice, that seeks fairness, that seeks humaneness. What we saw on Monday, what they were celebrating today, is nothing but deception. Batira uchenjeshi wangu kufungwa ta sakamana. Batata batafuna munove ngakupita pamusura daro kupita pamusura. Echishere. Uchine tukana tensel. But to do that, we have to work together. It's not about us seated here. This is not about Fred Membe. This is not about Given Luvinda. This is not about Chifumbanda. It's about the people of this country. Our people today are living in fear. They are worried that their country tomorrow may be on fire because they have not seen anything like this. We are seeking peace in our country. We don't want this country to be on fire. You don't build a strong community on ashes. We want peace, and we'll struggle for it. Despite all what is happening to us, peaceful ways of changing things. And we'll change this country in a very peaceful way. Despite the injustice, the unfairness that we are subjected to today, the unfair imprisonments of our comrades on the trumped-up charges with prior designed judgment. But again, to overcome these challenges, we need to unite. We need to unite our struggles. It's not about positions. The people who are suffering are not interested in positions. They are interested in bettering the material conditions under which they live. And to avoid that, let's start with the most important thing. Let's have a national agenda, not individual agendas. When people pursue individual agendas, they are open to being corrupted. We saw this on Monday. What was being pursued by our friends were not national interests of our people or of our country. They were personal interests. If we put aside personal interests and pursue the national agenda, especially of the most downtrodden, who becomes what, who gets what position becomes irrelevant. We will be able to select who is most suited for the task. And some think it's going to be easy. Nipambale, tepambale. We are headed for a very difficult struggle, a struggle we have not seen since 1991. If us who participated in removing UNIP from power in 1991 think that was difficult, this is going to be worse. This will be the most difficult regime to deal with. It's violent, it's tribal, it's corrupt, it's tyrannical. Sometimes you wonder if we are dealing with fellow human beings or some other animals due to insensitivity. Human beings have got a sensitivity. They can feel for others. Other animals don't. Let's make this struggle more human. In fact, the more we struggle for a more just cause, the more human we become. Ikyalo eki tekyakushita tekyakushitisha. We can't deal with the lives of our people like we are in a market, buying and selling. This country was given to us by God for our benefit, to preserve our dignity as human beings. That dignity is gone today. We need to get back our country. We need to get back our dignity. I've mentioned a number of things, but the most important thing is this struggle is a struggle for the sovereignty of our country. This struggle is about patriotism. This struggle is about our humanity, our dignity as human beings. Without these three things, we are reduced to nothing. Let me cut short what I have to say. I can be here the whole afternoon. Fair. And people stop listening anyway. What our people want is solutions. Solutions to the current challenges. Are these issues small? Are these issues easy? No, they are not easy, they are very difficult. But this leadership that is here today is not here to deal with simple things. If it was simple things, why come here? Waste the whole afternoon, the whole morning. We are dealing with very complex issues. And I believe you have the experience, you have the militance, the tenacity that is required to deal with the problems. The experience that is here is huge. Some acquired through many years of struggles, some acquired through the intelligence of the individuals. Even if they have got short years of struggle, they are very intelligent and highly committed human beings with high levels of sensitivity to the suffering of their fellow human beings. So we have what it takes. And because we have what it takes, we will take them on. They lie there. They can celebrate today, but we are coming for you. We are coming for you. Don't deceive yourselves. You won't win this one. You have won a small battle, but you have not won the war. The Vietnamese lost all the battles in their fight with the Americans. But that was not their strategic objective. Their strategic objective was to win the war, and they won the war. What we lost on Monday was a small tactical battle. takulieko fiala batwala. What they have won, what they have in their hands is nothing. The war will be won by the people. It will not be won by us here, it will be won by the people. And because we are fighting a cause of the people, we are confident of winning. All we ask for from our Creator is good health.
Thank you so much. I now call upon the acting president of the Patriotic Front, who is also acting chairperson of the Tonse Alliance.
Thank you. Comrades in the struggle, President of Socialist Party, Dr. Fred Membe, President of FDD, Mr. Chifumu Banda, State Council, Presidents of other political parties in the Tonse Alliance. I recognize President Sondo of UBZ, President Musoma of ZRP. I recognize Secretary Generals of the other political parties that are represented here and Secretary Generals of organizations in the Tonse Alliance. The Acting Deputy Secretary General for Politics in the Patriotic Front, Honorable Miles Sampa, and your counterpart responsible for administration, Councillor Mukandila, all members of the Central Committee of the Patriotic Front, and all other members of the Council of Leaders of the Tonse Alliance, fellow countrywomen and men and the youths of Zambia, and members of the press. I address you today at a defining moment in the life of our republic, a moment that calls for honesty, courage, and unwavering fidelity to the Constitution of Zambia. The UPND government of the Republic of Zambia has concluded the passage and assent of Constitution Amendment Bill number 7, following a process that was highly controversial, deeply divisive, and fundamentally unconstitutional. Let me be clear. This process was explicitly found to be inconsistent with the spirit of the Constitution of Zambia by the Constitutional Court of Zambia. And this was in the landmark case of Celestine Mukandila and Munia Zulu versus the Attorney General. This is case number 2025/CCZ/009. The Constitutional Court did not speak in ambiguity. It declared that the decision by the government to initiate a constitutional amendment process before undertaking wide consultations with the people of Zambia went against the spirit of Articles 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 61, 90, 91, and 92 of the Constitution of Zambia. The process abrogated 10 specific articles in the Constitution. Not one article, but 10 separate articles. The court further guided that any constitutional amendment process must be people-driven, led by an independent body of experts and anchored in wide, genuine, and meaningful consultations with the people of Zambia. Despite this constitutional guidance, the government chose a different path, a path of defiance, disregard, and deliberate constitutional erosion. Fellow Zambians, civil society organizations, the Law Association of Zambia, the church, and citizens across the length and breadth of our country spoke in unison, spoke with one voice. and the voice was a rejection of the process that the UPND government had undertaken to arrive at Bill 7 and to further process Bill 7 into a law that today received presidential assent. They rejected the assault on the constituent authority from which the National Assembly derives its legitimacy, the people of Zambia. Yet, the voices of the Zambian people were ignored. We in the Patriotic Front, together with our partners in the Tonse Alliance, listened and listened very carefully. For that, we have stood with the people, and we have remained steadfast in our historic duty to protect, defend, and preserve the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, because that is a duty bestowed upon every citizen of Zambia by the Constitution, to defend the Constitution of Zambia. Let me state this without any hesitation. This constitutional abrogation could not have succeeded without the betrayal of the Zambian people by members of parliament. The Patriotic Front has members of parliament, and let me emphasize this. This constitutional abrogation could not have succeeded without the betrayal of the Zambian people by members of parliament. Bill 7 would not have received presidential assent today had all members of parliament stood with the people of Zambia. In response to the clear will of the people, the Patriotic Front issued a 3-line whip directing all our members of parliament not to vote in favor of Bill number 7. Our instructions were clear, lawful and unambiguous. Members were required to attend proceedings and to ensure that a no vote was recorded. For the record, the leadership of the Patriotic Front engaged with all PF members of parliament on no less than 8 occasions. On 1 or 2 of those occasions, I had the privilege of the presence of fellow leaders of other opposition political parties, some of whom are represented here. And in that engagement with our members of parliament, the leaders of various opposition political parties appealed to members of parliament to stand with the people, to stand with the people in rejecting the unconstitutional Bill 7. The night before the fateful Monday, members of the Central Committee of the Patriotic Front had a press briefing where the national chairperson of the party, Madam Jean Kapata, issued a clear and unequivocal statement to our members of parliament. That statement was carried live on social media and also published in the print media the following morning. No one, no member of parliament can claim not to have heard the directive issued on behalf of the party by Chairperson Jean Kapata. However, fellow countrymen and women, the National Assembly of Zambia has to date, since Monday, today is Thursday, 4 days after the vote, the National Assembly has failed to release the division list of votes that took place during the deliberations on Bill number 7. On my left is a former Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. And further on is a gentleman who has been in Parliament for a number of terms. On my extreme right is a former Member of Parliament. And next to him is a former Member of Parliament too. And never in the history of the Parliament of Zambia has a division list not been published within 24 hours of the vote being taken. The practice is always that within 24 hours of a vote, the official division list is made public. And yet, for Bill 7, 4 days later, the division list is being kept as a secret. The voting was not secret. And the voting in Parliament is never secret. Members of Parliament are accountable to the electorate. And the only way they can be held accountable is by the electorate being told how their representative voted. The hiding of the division list is not only unacceptable, but is criminal. The National Assembly is a house of record, and transparency in the dealings of Parliament is not optional. It is constitutional. It is actually a constitutional obligation. This is the reason why the taxpayers of Zambia pay so much to broadcast the proceedings of Parliament. And no proceeding of Parliament can be made secret except on one instance, when parliamentarians are debating issues to do with Parliament. That is the only exception. All other matters before Parliament are open to scrutiny by the public. We therefore demand that Speaker Nelly Muti, I hope she has recovered from her dancing, that she must release immediately the division list. The people of Kabwata would like to know how their Member of Parliament voted. The people of Umpika would like to know how their Member of Parliament voted. The people of Zambia would like to know how their members of Parliament voted. It is their right. Countrymen and women, we are fully aware that some members of Parliament elected on the Patriotic Front ticket voted in favor of Bill number 7. And that was in total violation of party instructions and in complete betrayal of the trust bestowed upon them by the people. So whether Nelly Muti keeps that division list, it is clear that for them to get 135 votes, members of the Patriotic Front voted with them, voted for Bill 7. Let me speak plainly to the nation on this matter. The Patriotic Front knows every one of its members of Parliament who was present and how they voted. We know that. We already know that. We know the ones who voted for Bill 7. So Nelly Muti's hiding of the division list does not help those members of Parliament. We also know that that was the bargain that they had. They entered into a bargain that the division list shall not be published. But as heaven would have it, we know who sat in that chamber, and we know who wasn't in that chamber, and we know how those in the chamber voted. We gave clear instructions to all our members of parliament on how to vote for Bill 7. Accordingly, and with immediate effect, all Patriotic Front members of parliament who voted in favor of the unconstitutional Amendment Bill number 7 are hereby expelled from the Patriotic Front. This decision is final. This decision is irreversible. We are fully alive to the fact that the UPND will protect those members of parliament. But we care less. We are better off walking alone than walking with people who have hidden knives in their bags, not knowing when they will stab us in the back, as they have done now. Especially when those knives are so long that they can stab the citizens of Zambia in their backs. All Patriotic Front structures across the country, at all levels, are hereby directed to take full and formal notice of the changed status of those individuals. We also take note that some members of parliament absented from the proceedings. While absence does not equate to endorsement, we express the hope that such decisions were made in good faith and in reference to the will of the people. History will judge every elected leader by where they stood at this defining moment. Whether they stood with the power that be or they stood with the people of Zambia. Fellow citizens, this is not the first time that PF is experiencing this. We experienced it over the National Constitution Conference in 2010. And the action we took then is the action we're taking now. When everybody thought the Patriotic Front would sink, it instead rose like a phoenix to form government only the next year, the following year in 2011. On this score, I would like to call upon all our structures across the country. The list of those members of parliament who voted for Bill 7 will soon be published. But some of you already know how your members of parliament voted. I instruct you now to identify applicants who should stand on the Patriotic Front and the Tonse Alliance ticket in the 2026 election. Fellow citizens, constitutions are not playthings of those in power. They are sacred covenants between the people and the state. When a constitution is violated, democracy is weakened, trust is broken, and the nation itself is placed at a risk. The Patriotic Front will not be silent. We will not be complicit and will not abandon the people of Zambia. We call upon all other opposition political parties to remain resolute and to be committed to our pursuit for democracy, constitutionalism, and the rule of law. We in the Patriotic Front offer ourselves to partner with all opposition political parties to inspire the Zambian people to continue with the struggle to emancipate our country from neo-colonialism and from tyranny, dictatorship. We are called to service for mankind, and not service for ourselves. I therefore call upon all members of opposition political parties to leave behind our personal egos and interests and forge instead in the interests of the suffering majority of our people. We should continue to stand with the people of Zambia, and we should do so peacefully but firmly and fearlessly in defense of our republic. Comrade Membe was talking about those who sacrificed for multi-party democracy in 1990-91. But let's also cast our eyes even further to the lives that were lost for the emancipation of Zambia from colonialism. Did our forebearers lay their lives for nothing? Did they spill their blood for nothing? Did they spill their blood before 1964 only for all the gains that were made to be reversed by the UPND regime? No. We of this generation have a responsibility to the future generation. It is our duty now to ensure that we invest everything we have in the democracy of this current generation, but more so for the future generation. I appeal to you, my dear brothers and sisters, to search your souls and ask the question, where will you be when the history is recorded? Will you be amongst those who decimated and desecrated democracy? Or will you be among those men and women whose work will have been etched on the soils of Zambia, whose sweat will see the flourishing democracy? I call upon all of us to be resilient, to be resolute. The way ahead shall not be easy. But battles are not for easy and undetermined people. What is before us is a liberation struggle to liberate our people from growing unconstitutional governance. We must stand together to give hope. The Zambians are looking up to all of you, all of us, to inspire them and to ensure that they continue to hold on to something. And that can only be faith and hope. But that hope has to be driven by some people. Be those who drive that hope. Thank you very much. May God bless the Republic of Zambia. May God bless all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Urinda. We now will take some questions, and please give us your name and the media house you represent. We take questions now. Any questions? I see there are no questions. May we raise up proposing the single national anthem? One London, one nation is our crown.
Dignity and peace is Zambia's sky. Like a noble eagle in his flight, Zambia, praise to thee, O one, soul and free. Praise be to praise be, praise be, bless our great nation.